From the sports buds, here's the weekly football analysis show no one asked for, the Postgame. Let's start the show.
Guess how much Buffalo Wild Wings charges you for an extra thing of ranch? Well, not just an extra, just for like a cup of ranch. Guess how much?
$1.50.
It's close. $1.75.
Oh my, that's fucking bullshit, bro. That's un-American right there.
It's
Some
ridiculous.
un-American shit right there. All right.
Bigger
Guess you wanna
ripoff
start with-
than fucking Will Lutz, bro.
I guess you want to start with Buffalo, huh? Let's get that wing talk going. That spread was not disrespectful, Chris. The spread was not disrespectful. The Raiders, yeah.
If it was a first half spread, very disrespectful. Full game spread, not respectful enough, apparently.
You just got confused. You didn't know what kind of spread we were talking about. I see you. Let's take a look. They didn't even cover that in the first half, but it was closer. It was 21-10 at halftime, I see.
Still though, if you're a Bills fan, do you walk away from that game like feeling any more confident in Josh Allen?
I don't think he could turn it off. Like, I think that's the only way he knows how to play. Like, I was texting you guys in the group chat. I was telling him, I was like, why does he throw the ball so hard? Why does he play like this? He's got like no finesse. I'm like, bro, it's like a 3-yard screen. You don't have to throw it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
But and then he's running head first still. Like, he's asking to be concussed. He literally is asking to be concussed. I don't know. It was a strong bounce back win, though. It was a good bounce back win. You had to say that.
Did most of it from the air. I'll give him credit for that. James Cook was huge for him, 123 yards. Like, Josh Allen, only 7 yards on the ground today. 3 touchdowns in the air. 0 TDs on the ground. So like that's what you want from Josh Allen, but still, like, it's just the way he plays. Like you said, can this last a season? And I asked that question about quite a few quarterbacks today of just like, hey, like, that's great and all, but can you like last a whole season? So I guess that switches gears to the Colts. Anthony Richardson, of just like, that guy looked like a beast. That guy was a beast today, and then got concussed. And just like, yeah, that style play, like I question that even with Desmond Ridder. I question that a little bit with CJ Stroud of just like, how long can you last doing that?
It's risky, man. It's risky. It's so risky, but it's fun to watch. So fun to watch. I'm happy that I'm not a Colts fan. I'll root for that because it's not my team, but
Colts fans had to be excited today for like probably the first time really since like Andrew Luck, of just like, all right, like maybe we do have like the franchise guy again and not just some like replacement mercenary like late in his career.
Yep, they were just like, maybe we have a legitimate franchise quarterback, and then in comes Gardner Minshew to finish the game, and they were like, flashbacks. We've seen this before.
Yep. All right, different game, switch it up. Seahawks at Lions home opener. I believe Tony was the only one that called this correct. Jesus.
They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. The Lions should have won that game so easily.
Basically, yeah. Like, there's just a lot of mistakes, and this is where you have to, like, Dan Campbell's great, but like, there was just some mistakes today that, like, I think fall squarely on his shoulders more so than anyone.
I hate when these announcers give you that vague bullshit analysis of like, this team doesn't know how to win. They need to learn how to win. That's exactly how I feel about the Lions. I mean, they've blown so many games where I'm just like, you can't beat the defending Super Bowl champs last week. in a resounding, like very impressive win, and then blow that home opener to the Seahawks, like a team that you're like in competition with in the NFC for a playoff spot and like playoff seeding. Just bad luck. Bad luck.
It reminded me, honestly, of the game the night before, which I'm representing, like CSU of just Jay Norvell's been coaching for like 30 years now, and like that showed in last night's game, and same with Pete Carroll. Like, dude's been doing this for a while, like he knows what he's doing, and like that's what I think won Seattle the game today, was just purely like the coaching one-on-one battle.
Yep. Experience setting those guys up.
Yeah. Also wild thinking about this last night, like Pete Carroll, like there's a whole generation of people, like they don't know him as a college coach. They think of him solely as an NFL coach, which is wild. If you would have asked me that like 10 years ago, I'd been like, no, like that guy's going down in like USC glory. And now he's gonna be known as like coach of the Seahawks, Super Bowl
Seahawks
winning
dude.
coach. Yeah.
The Seahawks guy.
Yeah. So, but what do you gauge from this game? Like, it's like this a game that's really going to prove out the season of just like Lions aren't as good as we thought, Seahawks a little better than people thought, or just like, is this one of those kind of fluky games where it doesn't really define either team?
I think it's good for the Lions. I think they can use this and be like, this is where we actually are in the NFC. I don't see the Lions upsetting the Niners or the Eagles in their regular season matchups, I think. No. I think they can use this as like their little benchmark, and they can be like, we lost that game. We thought we were good. But the Seahawks, I think they're going to use that as like, yo, we're going in the right direction. Geno Smith's the guy. He won this shootout with Jared Goff. So those wide receivers for the Seahawks looked pretty damn good in that game. I will give them that.
I'm going to say this. I don't know if the Lions are honestly a top 5 team in the NFC.
I don't know.
Like, no, like, good. No, like Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, right there. Like,
clearly Seahawks. Like they just
like just look how like the Rams played today. Do you think the Lions beat the Rams?
I don't know. That's
like,
a close game.
It's probably going to be a close game just like this. So that's where I'm just like, I think that there's legitimately 5 teams that you could put above the Lions right now. Packers look pretty good. I whiffed on that. I whiffed pretty hard on Jordan Love.
You did. But let's talk about where you were right. And that's on your Baker Mayfield Bucks connection, which I still can't explain. When I saw these stats, I sent the group chat this thing where Mike Evans has had the best 2-game stretch in his fucking career with Baker Mayfield. He's got 1,000 yards, 8 straight years, going to the NFL Hall of Fame. The only thing I can like think of is like, is this like Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans back at Texas A&M? And like Baker Mayfield is just running around back there and just finding him constantly downfield on these bombs. Because what does he have? Like, he has 300 yards receiving or something ridiculous, like 315 yards receiving in 2 games. 315 yards. Mike Evans, I will never disrespect you again. I am sorry. You still got it. You are still a top receiver in the NFL. Baker Mayfield he's cooking with him, man. He's cooking with him.
Mike Evans, 6 receptions, 171 yards.
It's disgusting.
1 TD. Baker Mayfield, 26-34, 317 yards with that 1 tutty to Mike Evans. And he had some angry runs today, like I told you. He's the second leading rusher for him. I mean, 17 yards on 6 carries, but like he had some big plays on the ground for him that just gives them another option that they definitely didn't have with Tom Brady. That's for damn sure. So,
see, you hear this, audience? We are going to hype up short kings like myself. Baker Mayfield, it's okay when you run. Josh Allen, get back in the pocket. Get back in the pocket, Josh Allen. Baker Mayfield, more of those angry runs. Let's go, short kings. Let's go. I love it.
Josh Allen's proven, though, that he can stand in the pocket and launch it downfield. that if he needs to, like, he can play traditional quarterback with the best of them. The problem is he does just sometimes some too many ad lib plays, gets out of the pocket
That's
when he
true.
really doesn't need to. So I think it's an apples to oranges comparison. I will say, last season, I said that Baker Mayfield was going to be comeback player of the year for the Panthers. Definitely did not happen, but hey, like this is what I thought the Panthers were going to get out of him last season.
True.
So
True. See if
now
he
we're
can
s-
keep it
we're s-
up.
we're still on this game. I got it in my handy notebook.
Oh shit.
Is
What
Justin
do you got in
Fields
the
good?
notes?
Is Justin Fields good?
I think it's safe to say no. Okay. I think it's safe to say no because I like, even if you want to give them the greatest caveat and benefit of the doubt, the Bears do have one of the worst 5 offensive lines in football. That shit is bad. It's not like he has all day to throw back there. But like you said, he holds on to that thing forever. Forever. He should just take off and run more if he's going to hold on to it that long. But I think it's safe to say you could be like, it's not happening for him, man. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, if he was on the Jets, would they be any better? I don't think so.
No.
I think they'd be like the same situation, and that's Zach Wilson was in that same draft. So, I
I
mean,
think they would be worse with Justin Fields. I just think his
could
field
be.
his field vision's terrible.
I
And
think you're probably right, but the Bears have like they stumbled, so they really haven't been able to get this to see him be not very good this quickly. So it's taken longer for them to figure this out because they haven't really put him in any type of situation. But now they got DJ Moore there. Like I said, the O line isn't the best, but like you're not seeing any signs of like this guy can play quarterback, the progressions, like nothing like that, where he's reading the field, he's making the angry runs, like you said, that Baker's making, like really limited, man.
I don't really see anything special out of him right now. So I
Yeah.
I say no. I mean today is 16 to 29, 211 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. So just not a good game. And Bears are 0-2 and look like one of the worst teams in the league. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um well, okay, one thing we talked about today that we kept seeing on our ticker on our crawl screen below was that Aaron Rodgers coming back. Basically Tom Pelissero was talking to him.
Throwing this out
He's
there.
coming back this season. I mean, it's just total ridiculous stuff. Like he can say that and whatnot, but like to me, this is no different than like a Ben Simmons like NBA workout video of like this means nothing to me. And the fact that the media like bet on this is one of the stories on my ticker in the middle of NFL Sunday. Like, give me a break. He's not coming back. And
All
if he
right.
does, he's immediately gonna get injured, a la Kevin Durant style.
We'll make a bet. If this guy, Aaron Rodgers, comes back healthy, we're taking ayahuasca. We're taking any of this third party shit that's like third Eastern medicine shit that he's doing. I'll wear the voodoo bracelets and anklets, whatever. Because that's amazing. There's no way he's coming back from a torn Achilles that soon. I'm willing to risk us taking ayahuasca on air for you guys. That's not happening. Sorry.
No,
But
we'll
yes,
do it.
man.
I'll seriously, we will record a little journey of us out in the little rainforest taking ayahuasca with some people, show you the whole experience if we have to, but it's not gonna happen. I can tell you now, it's not gonna happen. But yeah, like I'll read The Alchemist, I'll do all that stuff. Um, but like, give me a break. This is just let it go, people. Let it go. He's done for the season. We need to create more like storylines with games that are actually happening, players that are actually on the field. Like let's not do the whole like speculation market of driving news stories with it. It's bad. I mentioned the NBA because it's bad enough in the NBA where it's more about what's happening off the court, off the field, rather than like what's actually happening on the field. Like, let's not forget the games we saw today. Giants, amazing comeback today.
Let's
Down
actually
21
talk about the
points.
games.
Yeah, like let's talk about the games. So, speaking of Giants comeback, like let's still be realistic here. In 6 quarters of football, they were outscored 60-0. It's
I
insanity. Like I'll give them the comeback, but it was against the Cardinals, but the Giants are a bad, bad, bad team. And I don't think that like this little comeback victory against the Arizona Cardinals, which are a worse team, is going to change the course of their season.
Okay, I have a question to ask you. Is Justin Herbert still a coward? I don't know how this team still loses these games, man. I don't know how. I do not know how. They had that game. They had that game so many times. I was like, oh, this is over. And then it would come back on my screen and be like, the Titans are driving some 50-yard bomb or something to some guy catching it. Hopkins catching some deep passes. I'm like, how, Chargers? How? 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 Chargers came back, forced overtime, and won that game. Ridiculous.
But then just shit the bed and like
I mean,
just got stale with their
Titans did.
offense and overtime. And
But like no turnovers from Herbert. I'm seeing this. No turnovers from Herbert.
he's not the problem. He's not like he's a great QB. Like he definitely has some things that need to be tweaked with his game, but like he's had bad coordinators, he's had bad coaches. Like this was the story of Philip Rivers' career. It was just bad
Time is a flat
coordinators,
circle,
bad
everyone.
coaches. It just
Chargers charging. Time is a flat circle. It doesn't matter how gifted that quarterback is. They're going to charge. Okay. Tell me what this told you about Ryan Tannehill, because I still don't think he's very good. I still don't believe in that team.
he's
Still don't
he's
believe in it.
been what I thought he was gonna be this season and wasn't last weekend. He's the QB that gets the job done. Like
Okay.
between him and Derrick Henry and everyone else, it's just like put your lunch in your lunch pail, put on your work boots, come to work, get the job done, go home. It's not pretty, but it works in games like this.
Okay. Let's talk about another good game that we had here. Packers, Falcons. Tell me about do you think Desmond Ridder is better than Justin Fields?
He's a better coach as of right now. Like, no, that like
Okay. All right.
I think they're
He
kind of the same in some regards, but Arthur Smith, man, dude has some cojones on him.
he does, man. Jordan Love, though, he didn't look that good in that fourth quarter. He did not look that good in that fourth quarter. But he's like 7 good quarters of football and 1 bad one. I'll have to give him that. I'll have to give him that.
But that's just there's a lot of games today that showed that like coaching still matters in the NFL. Like
Oh, yeah.
even down to that Cardinals Giants game of just like a lot of teams I think would have just checked out and been dejected, but Dable, like to his credit, kept him in that game to the bitter end.
Dude. All right. Since I lost this bet, Trevor Lawrence, you got to stop watching our show. Stop reading the press clippings. I don't know what happened in Jacksonville. I was so convinced that they were going to like battle with the Chiefs, and I swear they could not score to save their life. That defensive coordinator put Trevor Lawrence through some voodoo in that game. Couldn't get anything going in the red zone. The receivers like dropped touchdowns, couldn't get their feet in. Just so many missed opportunities. Chiefs are damn good, man. Chiefs are damn good. Kelsey's back. Chris Jones is getting sacks. Fuck, Chiefs are damn good, man.
Chiefs
They
are
like
they're working
yeah.
through some shit, but that just shows that like they're a veteran team that they can easily work through some of these things. Like we saw plenty of other teams that had the same mistakes as the Chiefs today and went down in epic fashion, whereas the Chiefs just
Yeah.
like you wouldn't necessarily think they were dominating that game, but they kind of did dominate this game.
They did. They did. All right. Speaking of the veteran team, tell me what you thought about this Niners team that you think is so legit against the Rams. Pretty good win. That was a pretty good win. I will give you
That was a
that.
pretty good
Good
win.
battle.
That was divisional battle for sure. Like two good coaches going at one another, but at the end of the day, man, like that Niners defense, oh man, I just totally forgot his name. Debo Samuel
Debo,
is freaking amazing. He's back to
such a
it.
good weapon.
Christian McCaffrey, speaking of angry runs, just like killing people out there. So they're stocked, man. That Niners team, it looks nasty. Oh, but I know you've been waiting for it. A team that probably looked nastier on both sides of the ball. Dallas Cowboys. Um, like
Good start.
at this point, like they're averaging 5 points per opponent on defense. They're averaging, I think, at this, let's see here, 35 points on offense per game. Like that it has to be the league best. I'm sure I could easily check, but I'm not going to. But that has to be like one or two in the league in terms of both sides of the ball. So they look awesome. But as I told you, one of our knocks on the Eagles last season was, hey, do it against good QBs. The Cowboys now have done it against Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. Albeit at the beginning of the season, when we were looking at this, like it was, oh, you're going up against Aaron Rodgers, you're going up against Daniel Jones, who looked really good last year, made it to the playoffs, and both those teams not necessarily that case. And then also Jets defense. I said they were top 3 in the league. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Although
You know what? I think they still are top 3 in the league. I think you're right about that. They held
they
the
had
Cowboys
pressure.
5.
They had
Yeah.
pressure on Dak,
Yes,
but
yes.
he was just like
5
that's
field goals though is pretty good. That's good defense. 5
yeah,
field goals they held them to. 5
Dak
field goals is
Dak was amazing, and this is where he doesn't give credit is like they just so many multi-defender rushes coming at him, and he's able to dump out the ball to like CeeDee Lamb, who's just out there in the middle by himself because of the pass rush. And like, yeah, to Dak's credit, like he didn't bite on these rushes, and
he got
got
away
the
with
ball away.
one. He got away with one that could have easily been a pick 6 from Sauce Gardner. That one definitely could have been a pick 6. Sauce dropped it, and there was no one in front of him. But what I saw was McCarthy. He sets up easy plays for Dak. These are dump off passes. These are dink and dunk passes. Legit. Cowboys players are getting yak. I have not seen this. The Cowboys players are actually getting yak, and like that's all they're doing is like, and they're such quick dropbacks. It's like 1, 2, 3, drop. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 4, boom. And it's like it's such a timing rhythm based offense. But that would be my only concern is that it's not like it's looked that top tier, like that aggressive, like the Chiefs or anything. It has looked very like McCarthy's offenses with Rodgers back in Green Bay, where it's just like quick strike, pass, set up the run. Little conservative though.
But where I'd
Little
push back
conservative.
though is I'd say both New York teams like heavily committed to the pass rush of we're gonna make Dak pass, and that's how they're gonna win the game. And boy,
Yeah.
howdy, did he win the fucking game both times passing the ball. So a lot of the like just preseason criticism that we saw, like I saw one person that was like, oh, I smell Dak cooking up, multi-interception game. And it's like, what? Like, what have you been watching? And
It's true.
this is where we talk
It's
about where just if you watch ESPN constantly, like you'd think that the Jets are one of the greatest teams in the league and that the Cowboys are dog shit. And so of course you'd have that analysis going into that game. And that's no.
like Michael Parsons is on another. He is like taking that mantle away from Aaron Donald as the best defensive player in football. Like he is bullying other grown men out there. Every game he makes a play where you're just like, what the hell just happened? What the he should have scored a touchdown today. He almost scored a touchdown today, but they like caught him by like having some guy was touching him when he stripped Dalvin Cook, your boy, who you're just like, you're dead. You're dead to me, Dalvin Cook. But yes, man. I don't know. They look really good so far. It's early. It's September, but I was impressed by how easy they're making things for Dak. So it's not like he puts the ball in harm's way and he's not throwing all these dangerous passes. Like these dudes are wide open that he's throwing to. I'm never like, oh, that was dumb. I'm like, yeah, look at that. Look at that. So we'll see. It's a good sign for things to come so far.
I think it's a great sign for the Cowboys. I think of just, like I said, all the pre-season criticisms they got, whether it's, oh, Mike McCarthy's too conservative and doesn't score enough points, blah, blah, blah. Dak's gonna throw a bunch of interceptions. Like, yeah, none of it's come true so far. And I think that the Cowboys are easily one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
That's right. Week 2, baby. Let me have my little celebration. They're definitely one of the best teams in the league for sure right now.
They
We'll see
are. They
we'll
are.
see what's going
I
on.
mean, we watched so many NFC teams that struggled today, and
Your
mean,
Niners pick is still legit. I'm impressed by them every time I watch them. Like you said, that touchdown
I think
Debo
that game
Samuel
was
made
more
today.
that people have just been sleeping on the Rams.
Okay, I think you can't pronounce his name. That's why you don't want to talk about
Puka
like
Nakua.
not the sequel to Akuna Matata, the leading receiver for
Puka
the Rams.
Nakua, first 2 games, set a record, most receptions for wide receiver in his first 2 games. He's had 200+ yard games so far. He looked amazing. Like Rams are gonna be good once Cooper Kupp gets back. Like, come on.
I think you could be right on that. We could have been sleeping on them. Like if the Rams and the Lions played tomorrow, I'd be like, I don't think I'm picking the Lions. I don't think I'm picking the Lions. I don't think I'm picking the Lions in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn it, man. This Rams team, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. They look a lot better than I
And
thought they
like
were
one
going
of
to.
the things that you could have possibly given to the Lions was like, oh, like maybe they'll have like a great home field advantage. And if they get one of those top spots, like that'll be huge for them in the playoffs. And like, no, like as it stands right now, I'd say is that if the NFC were to shake out the way it is, like Lions wouldn't get a home playoff game. Well, maybe
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe one for like just being a divisional winner, but
We'll see, man. I think they're gonna have their hands
even
full.
that's
Yeah.
up like to
The
debate of
Packers looked pretty good, man. They looked
Packers
pretty
and Vikings could
consistent.
probably still go at them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think if Packers won that division, I wouldn't be surprised. They look pretty good. Lots of young players. And if the Vikings came back, maybe they don't trade Kirk Cousins like I keep trying to make them.
That's ridiculous. Like no team's gonna trade middle is like let's be honest, the reason the Vikings are in the position they're in of being as good of a team as they are is because of Kirk Cousins.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, man, that Falcons team is so damn good. Desmond Ridder is not good. I'm just like watching them. And I'm just like, oh my God. These skill position players are so stacked. Okay, here's the game we didn't talk about at all. Speaking of skill position players, what's wrong with the Bengals?
But they've like we've said this the last 2 seasons with them.
This is true. We have like
Bengals are a phony team and like can't get the job done. And then somehow they end up in the fucking playoffs.
Man, I haven't seen anything from Jamar Chase in a couple games. That's like a little troublesome. Why isn't that connection working? Especially after you paid this man all this money and he looks so ordinary. I'm like, why? I'm not used to seeing this. I need to see, like, I'm telling you, like, I thought that he might come out slow because of no practice, but he definitely is looking bad like last year. Maybe he'll warm up. Like you said, we've said this the past couple of years, and maybe we'll figure it out. But that division, it looks pretty tough. It looks pretty tough. And
Like,
then the Ravens, man.
I'd say that's what I walk away from that game more so is like the Ravens actually look good.
Zay Flowers, man, making guys miss. All right. Do you want to talk any about this Broncos Commanders game, or are you just like, no, that's
I'm looking up the Bengals schedule right now to see what we got to deal with, but it looks like they're playing the Rams next week at home. Then they're
oh
at the Titans, at the Cardinals. Then they play the Seahawks at home, bye week, at 49ers, then the Bills at home, Texans at home, at Ravens, Steelers at Jags, Colts, Vikings, at Steelers, at Chiefs, and then Browns
ooh,
at home to finish out the season. So those are some tough games that
that's a rough back half of the schedule there.
if this Rams game next week is almost like a must-win game for them because you start the season 0-3, then have to go to Tennessee to win your first game of the season.
Dude, they're in trouble, man.
Like,
They're
yeah,
in
you get a
trouble.
break there, I'd say probably with the Cardinals.
Yeah, they are right. They are in trouble, dude. This Rams game is must win for the Bengals. They are cooked. That's you said. I thought you said Niners and Chiefs game. Niners, Chiefs, Jags all after the bye. Yikes! And there's still a Steelers game in there and a Ravens game in there
Yeah.
after the bye.
Yeah, they got to go up against
Uh,
Rams, Titans, and Seahawks before the bye. After the bye, Niners, Bills, Ravens in Baltimore, and then Chiefs and Vikings. Vikings isn't going to be an easy out for them either, I don't think.
pressure is on Burrow and company.
And well, let's see. Another thing I want to look at the game today is just, yeah, like that was the thing is it just seemed like the Ravens cooked the Bengals in the air with the receivers all game. And so how is that going to go up against the Rams next week? Like,
Yeah, yep, against these good teams: Rams,
like how,
Niners, Chiefs,
yeah, like
Bills,
how's that going to go against
Jags.
Justin Jefferson?
Wow, watch. They're in trouble. In trouble.
So this might be one of those Tony was right moments where, yeah, I don't know if the Bengals are going to make the playoffs this year.
The rough start for him. It's a rough start. Well, we could talk a little bit the Vikings Eagles game on Thursday. No, you're like, nah, get out of here. Boring game.
I mean, Kirk Cousins, he had the comeback in that game. But the Eagles, man, they brutalize you in the trenches, like
Bully ball,
defensive line,
man.
offensive line. We talked
Yep.
about the tush push. It's just like impossible to defend. It's
I
annoying.
saw so many teams try that today and not get it. I saw
No.
so many teams try to get like a QB sneak or try like the little tush push and it not work. So as much as I do hate the Eagles, I do have to give them credit to that. That shit works amazingly all the time for them, and no other team is anywhere close to as successful. Like I saw multiple teams try it and it didn't work, and I was like, God damn it! It hurt me inside a little bit. Hurt me inside. Because, like you said, that offensive line is just bullies for the Eagles. My God.
It seems like Howie
God.
Roseman's found like the formula there in Philly of just like battle in the trenches. Like, get me
Yeah.
the biggest fucking guys you can get in the trenches. And it's working for them. It's got them one
Yeah.
Super Bowl so far, gotten them to another.
Yeah, it's a great formula, man. They have amazing players in the trenches, and that's what's winning those games, man. Very impressive. Kirk played great, man. Kirk Cousins played damn great in that game. They should have won, but fumbles. Justin Jefferson, crucial fumble over the pylon to have a turnover instead of a touchdown.
That's
So
like, all right. Is that a bullshit rule in the NFL? The fumbling out of the end zone, or I mean, like in that specific play, it was bullshit, I would say. Like, I understand the merit of the rule. If you fumble it into your own end zone, probably should be punished for that. But like that, God, the way that that Jefferson play broke out where he's just reaching for the goddamn pylon. Like that's one where it's like I've seen that play a million times.
Yeah, you don't want to penalize them for trying to make a football play like that when they're just like reaching out for the goal line, but at the same time they're like trying to enforce the responsibility of like holding on to the ball when they're by the goal line. So I see it both ways. Like, of course, in that situation, as I'm rooting for the Vikings, I may or may not have bet on the Vikings. Spoiler, I did bet on the Vikings, and you know, it's just the rule, man. I have to accept it. I had to accept it, but it does feel like some bullshit sometimes. I swear, I feel like these refs get calls from like the books, and they're like, "Yeah, take those points off the board. Make this call here." I don't know. That's just my get my tin hat going. Get my tin hat conspiracy talk going. But yeah, I see both ways on that. I see both ways on that for sure.
All right. Let's see. What's a game we haven't talked about? Yep. That leaves Commanders Broncos. Damn.
Billy's like,
I
damn it.
saved it for last. Been trying to avoid it. Hey, I was on a lonely island picking the Commanders. My whole diatribe with that pick was that the Broncos can't find a way, like they need to find a way to win. Like they're losers. They have a loser mentality right now. And was I not like 100% spot on today with that game?
Tell me the difference between between the Broncos and the Lions not knowing how to win. Because I think you're in the same situation as them, but like just different, like at different stages
Lions
of the
have
pool.
that energy of like Dan Campbell. I don't know why I almost called him Matt Campbell. Dan Campbell, like he just gets them jacked up. Like first off, he brings an energy to that room that's his intangible right there, is just the energy he brings in with the coaching spot that we've clearly seen shine through the last couple years. So you got to give him that. And then he just brings the whole us versus the world mentality, which Detroit's always carried with them, rightfully so. Broncos don't have that. Like, hell, 5 years ago, like they were one of the premier franchises in the NFL, and now they're an afterthought.
Rough spot. You don't think that it's just like you just don't think Sean Payton's had enough time to clear out people yet, and he wants like it's just going to be like a
Well, we
constant
always
churn.
knew like this was Sean Payton coming into, like he didn't get to do the, I'm sorry to bring up CU again, but he didn't get to do the Deion Sanders thing of like I'm just gonna clear house and bring in my own
Mm-hmm.
guys. Like he still has to very much work with a previous regime's guys. So we knew that this was gonna be a transition year for Sean Payton in that regard, but um like I don't know. I don't know what to do with the Broncos at this point because it was, oh, well, we're just a quarterback away. We're a quarterback away. Then it was suddenly, oh, we're just a coach away. We're a coach away. It's no, you're none of those things. Like you
A
need
little early.
everything.
A little early with Sean Payton, but I would say that it doesn't. I haven't heard many complaints about Sean Payton from you. It sounds like there's concerns on the defensive end. You're like,
But
what the
just
heck
there,
is
why did
going
he bring
on?
in Vance Joseph? Like
What was the options? It's not
I
like
th
he had a lot of
I think there are
choices.
better options out. Well, you could have probably got a younger guy that would have adhered more to your philosophy of football, potentially. Um, and like there was red flags around Vance, like, and then just now, like now comparing it to what a rookie DC did last season, and now what you're seeing with the same personnel this year, like I don't know, man.
When does Dennis Allen get fired to become your defensive coordinator? I don't know. That's what I was laughing about in my head right now. But
Strong possibility, Tony.
uh,
Strong possibility. But
we'll
I
see.
don't.
Ben, it's still early. It's still early.
You got
It's
to
still
get new
early.
guys in there. You got to get a new QB that people can rally behind. Like
Who
no
do the
more
Broncos play next week?
Dolphins.
Oh my God, damn it.
Yeah.
You were in
They're gonna
trouble.
get
Holy
torched. They're gonna get
crap.
absolutely torched next week. They
I
already have a terrible record in Miami as a franchise. They've never played well in Miami. And so, yeah, like they're gonna get absolutely torched by that offense. Unless like the Dolphins somehow come out completely flat and Sean Payton's able to like get that locker room rallying this week of like nobody believes in you, nobody thinks you're gonna win this game this week. That's the only way the Broncos have a chance, is if by some miracle it's one of those any given Sunday situations where you just catch the Dolphins on an off day. But if the Dolphins are on, torched.
Okay. I gotta ask right now. Spread. Tell me. Over under 7.5 points.
It's gonna be 9.5 points.
9.5. Broncos
Yes.
plus 9.5.
Just look at some of the wild spreads we saw for this week in football.
You're right. You're right. The Raiders got eight and
Like,
a half
yeah,
against Buffalo.
look at that Raiders spread.
Yeah.
Spot
yeah.
on right there. That was 8.5.
Yep.
So yes, it will be 9.5, if not double digits.
It's bad. Bad luck, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, you talk to the people. I'll look it up right now. You filibuster
Okay, guys.
for me.
We'll see what's going on. I've got one last upset pick. It was the Patriots over the Dolphins. Even though I do believe in this Dolphins team, this game's in Foxborough. It's 0-0 right now. It's early. We need some magic from Bill Belichick to maybe like make it a little difficult for those Dolphins players to play as well as they could against this Broncos team, because my guy Billings over there is going to be sweating in that Miami Heat along with the rest of those players. I can't believe that that Heat didn't get to the Kansas City players today. I was so salty. I thought for sure those Chiefs players were going to start sweating in the fourth, man.
I think they had a little more mild weather in Florida, but no spread up for the Broncos at Miami yet. They only have Giants 49ers up. Well, that's the Thursday game. So,
wait, Giants Niners is the Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a blowout too. Okay.
Yeah. 10-point spread there. So in San Francisco, or I should say Santa Clara.
Okay. You hear me, Niners. 40-0. 40-0. You get Daniel Jones serving up that. I want to see a bagel. With that defense, okay? That defense they were looking good today, man. I just so fast, man. Their secondary moves so fast. That safety linebackers they have, no joke, man. No joke. And Christian McCaffrey was just like born to play in this offense. Born to play. It's like that was his like Tyreek Hill. Like Mike McDaniel was like, I gotta get Tyreek Hill. Like Shanahan was like, I'm gonna get myself Christian McCaffrey.
It's all those Colorado kids connecting again. Just like, hey man, remember when the Broncos were good and we were a part of that? So yeah, like, so a little side note with the Miami Dolphins Broncos game. Mike McDaniel's favorite team as a kid was the Broncos. And so like that's where I think this team's not going to come out flat. Like he's going to have this team yacked up this week of just like, nah, dude, we're beating my favorite team as a kid. Like,
I'm not losing this game at home.
Yeah, that seems like what the competitor that he is. So I will be at that game. I'll be in Miami, but I've already made my peace with God that could potentially just be an absolute shellacking. And that if it's bad enough, like say the Broncos get beat by something wild, like 21, 28 points or whatnot. Like that's gonna start the Caleb Williams talk.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Do you not think so? With the state of like just everything leading up to this moment for the Broncos. And if you if you just come out and get stomped by Miami and you start the season 0-3, like the focus is going to shift for this team. Focus is going to shift for Sean Payton.
I could see that, but still, you have the Bears and Cardinals ahead of you, and I think both of those teams have 2 draft picks, 2 first rounders each.
But I think Broncos fans were saying that this week of like, oh, get right game against the Commanders, like perfect get right game.
You're right. If they're like 1-5 or 0-4, like that is going to happen. Even like you said, 0-3 with a bad loss. I did want to touch on this garbage game, Saints and Panthers. Do you have any feelings towards it? Oh, it's Monday night. It's a doubleheader Monday night, doubleheader.
Doubleheader. They didn't do the doubleheader last weekend, so they're doing it this weekend. I told you that I think that the NFC South, I think the battle for winning that division is going to be pretty electric.
God, if Baker and the Bucks win that division.
But hey, like they have a chance. I think Falcons have a shot. I think the Saints have a shot. Panthers just they don't look
No.
good.
Too
I think-
early. Too
Yeah,
early.
I think they're potentially competing for a top 5 pick, but if they beat the Saints on Monday Night Football, like they'll be in that mix as well.
Yeah, that's true. All
Yeah,
right.
no one's watching that game. I'm not watching that game tomorrow.
No. Brown Steelers though. Oh, we watching that one.
But yeah, Broncos, they're playing in Chicago after the Dolphins, so a little road stretch here coming up. But then they have week 5 back here in Mile High against the Jets. Jets can beat them.
Dude, you're like rooting against them now.
I'm
You're
not.
like,
No, I'm not.
Get the tank job going.
I'm being
Caleb
realistic.
Williams.
And I've been, it's just each year that we've chipped
Dude.
away at this, I have to look at it more and more objective and realistic. Going into this season, I told you guys that of just like, yay, Sean Payton's here, but I think I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I think there's a losing culture in that locker room that until you get some fresh faces in there, and I'm gonna tell you something shocking. Like this goes down to like Justin Simmons. Like I think they need to get Justin Simmons out of there. Trade him for some pieces. Like he is part of a Broncos team, like Broncos culture that you
Ooh.
no longer want in that locker room. Like Cortland Sutton, get him out of there. Don't need him anymore. Like, yeah, he had some glimmers today with like Mims, Leo McLaughlin. Like these are the guys, these are the fresh faces that I think you can build forward with. But Russ, gone. Get him out of here. Like you can't push PS2 out the door. I think that's just like that's a we use this word all the time, generational talent that yeah, you gotta build that defense around it. They tried to build the defense around Justin Simmons. It hasn't worked out. Probably need to move past him. So thanks. Thanks, Tony.
Ooh.
Thanks. You have your
Talk it
Cowboys
out.
talk. Let me have my Broncos talk of just they
Talk it
suck.
out. Justin Simmons for a 2nd-round pick. Hopefully not to you, Philadelphia. My nightmares. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Their secondary. No, please don't do that.
No, so say the Broncos, like what you said, they start 1-5. And say that you have some teams out there that like they're a piece away potentially. Like,
Yep.
wouldn't
That's what you're gonna. Yep. That's what's gonna happen. You're
Cowboys
gonna start
like
selling parts. You're gonna start
Cowboys? Don't
selling
you
those
think like
parts.
if they were just like, yeah, we'll give a 2nd-round pick up for Justin Simmons, like
I could see them, man. I could see contenders start giving you guys calls, man. I could start seeing that happen. Got good players. I think Brandon Ayuk went down for the Niners today, so maybe they call you guys and want Sutton, or they want wide receiver. They want Mims.
you want
or
Jerry
not
Judy?
Mims.
Like-
Judy.
There
Yeah,
you
I could see you
go.
guys shopping both of those guys. Judy's part of that losing culture, so is Simmons. Shopping both of those guys, huh? I can see it. You guys get a
Yeah.
couple 2nd and 3rds. Load up. Okay.
You gotta start looking to the future. Like you have some pieces definitely to build a defense around. You have some good skill players that you could bring in a rookie that he can bond with, but you gotta look to the future. We can't. What I would hate more than anything is that like for some reason they bring in another veteran after Russell Wilson. For some reason, they're just like, we can't do this anymore with Russell Wilson. And then again, they get like a free agent from another team. Like, no, you got to start fresh. You're gonna have to start taking chances in the draft. Um,
That's right. We're drafting your son, Dion. He's going to be the
hey,
quarterback of the
no,
Broncos next year. Just you wait.
Broncos could have drafted Sam Howell in the 4th round to back
Yeah.
up Russell Wilson, and instead they got beat by him today. Like, you got to start
Wow.
making these risk at this point to see what's out there.
Commanders are 2-0.
Like, honestly, you need to do the Commanders fucking route next season if you have enough picks of, like, if you get a 1st round QB, you better get another fucking QB in like the 4th or 5th round.
It is a good draft. It is a good draft for quarterbacks.
That's the state they're in, is like, we can't be doing the journeyman thing anymore. Like, all right, we've moved in on Sean Payton. We've given up pieces for him. He's a good coach. Let's build around him. And yeah, you got to start fresh at this point,
Yep. Let him
especially
find
a
his quarterback.
And yeah, Russ, I'm sorry, man. You ain't a Hall of Famer at this point.
No, he's played his way on out of it.
He has, but like, that's sad. That's sad. Like, I've seen better out of this guy, and I feel like he traded it in for Subway commercials and for like his little R3 branding and all this other things. And it's like, he almost kind of like sold his soul a little bit.
You think about that. They could have taken way less money, and then they could have kept that team together up there. Could have been a lot better.
You go back
maybe.
to the Seattle days of just like, he could have made
Yeah.
it work potentially up there and
Yep.
would have never had this stain on his record.
Yep.
And so,
man.
yeah, like, I just,
Well, at least if you guys would have pulled the whole Hackett Rogers thing together, it wouldn't have worked for you guys either.
no, that wouldn't have.
It wouldn't have worked for you guys either. Like, didn't work for the Jets.
That's the same situation though. It's the same situation. When the Russ trade happened, I turned to you, Tony, and I was like, there's something a little up. Like, the other shoe needs to drop here.
You were right. You did
And the
say that.
Packers knew what they had, I think.
Yeah.
Same as Seattle. They knew what they had, and they're like, all right, here you go. Like,
Do you think anything that had anything to do with all these NBA superstars being able to control their like futures and pick what teams they're getting traded to, that these quarterbacks were like, you know what? Literally. And then the only one, well, I guess it worked for Stafford too. Stafford and Brady are like the only ones.
Because
The rest of them.
we talked about this in other episodes. Like, this is what makes me furious about modern athletes, is it's all about this brand now.
Yeah.
That's something I love about Nikola Jokic, is just dude just wants to hang out with his horses and go back to Sombor,
Serbia,
to go back to Sombor in the summertime, and like, that's all he wants. Doesn't want to do podcasts, doesn't want like endorsements, doesn't need a sneaker, and yeah, so like, it's spilling over to football. Speaking of a guy, OBJ is somebody that's famous for building his brand. Like, he went down today for the Ravens.
Not a surprise, man. Not a surprise.
Oh no, like, you're seeing it a little bit with like Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, where dude's more about like his personal brand at this point than getting like rings or championship or helping his team or whatnot. Like, he just wants his piece of the pie. And I get that to a certain extent, but like, I think part of the appeal of, to bring it back to CU, of Deion Sanders, was that, like, yeah, he was all about his brand, but he always backed it up. Always backed up his words with like success and winning, no matter where he went. And I think that's where, like, that's why you have people like Kawhi Leonard and Lil Wayne and Michael Irvin and The Rock and like Pat McAfee and all these different people descending upon Boulder. It's because they realize that, they see that, of like, oh no, Like this guy talks a lot, but he always backs it up.
Yeah, he delivers. He delivers. He always delivers, man.
Yeah, and I think athletes respect that.
Yeah, fair. How can you not?
Yeah. All right. We've rambled on enough. This is our first post game of the season. This will probably work better as a podcast than it will as a video format. So yeah. Like, subscribe here on YouTube. Check us out Spotify, Apple Podcast, at the Sports Buds on Instagram and Twitter, all those plugs. But yeah, good to have a post game with you. This was cathartic for me, Tony.
Talk it out, man. Talk it out. You need to. Hopefully, before you start looking at mock drafts, we'll see how you enjoy your trip to Miami next week.
Rather than calling the local radio station, I was able to talk to Tony Parlay Reyes.
That's
talk
right.
it through it. But yeah, like I said, I'll be in Miami next week, so may not have a post game. Maybe it'll just be Tony by himself. Who knows? But
we'll see who I can wrangle. Yeah. We'll see who else I can wrangle to come join me.
Yeah, we'll definitely have our week 3 pick'ems up before I head out to Miami. So check those out later in the week. But all right, Tony, I'll let you sign out for us. I put Nick on the spot. I'll put you on the spot. Sign us out. Get us out of here.
All right, everyone. Thank you, hooligans, for listening. Week 2 post-game show. Talking it out. We got a therapy sesh with my guy, Chris Billings, explaining the future of the Broncos. Follow us on all the socials at the Sports Buds. He's Billingsgate. I'm at Tony Parlay. We've also got Nicopedia, and we're out there. Follow us. Let us know what you think. Share. Tell us where you disagree. Tell us where your teams are good and better than ours. Tell us how our teams are bad. And if you're a Broncos fan, shoot over some mock drafts to Billings. That's what it sounds like he's into. Other than that, I hope you guys have yourself a stupendous Sunday evening.
Yeah. Shadar Sanders, come, come to Denver.
Thanks for watching the Sports Buds. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.